Oh, yeah. There you go. And welcome back to Jeff Koinange live at the Villa Rosa Kempinski here, playing a little Njiru for Njiru, the Uungwana man, who has now heard about him. It is Wednesday after all, Politics 101, and yes, it's not all about Njiru. That was in referral to the 2 earrings he wears, Ken.
Yeah.
Chief Justice wears one.
Yeah.
Vice President, Deputy President doesn't approve it. But you know, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Chief Justice leaves office in 8 days' time. He's declared June 16th is when he's walking away. But he leaves behind nothing short of a mess.
No, I think it's a mess. And
it's messy.
I was wishing he could stay on a bit longer to resolve the issues. Because then what we then have is chaos in the judiciary. Yeah. We have chaos in the IEBC. Even Parliament, you know, to an extent is not as stable as it should be, because a lot of this stuff that is going on, by the way, even the IEBC, I think even Parliament, just like they were trying to initiate what they were initiating, would have been able to initiate something on its own motion, because it's an institution that is created of itself.
They finally came together too little, too late last week or something, right?
Yeah, too little, too late. And I think, but let me just step back a bit and say this, Jeff. I think we need to be not to beat ourselves down too much, despite what is looking like a dark cloud. I think we are a nation that is learning to live with itself. I think we are a nation that has to, like I'm saying, have deep conversations with itself. I think it is not okay, you know, for any of us to hide behind our tribes. I think it is not okay for any of us to vilify one community while looking like, you know, you're not doing it. I think it is not okay to blame this community against that community, more so because you and I know that the political class is one class, so to speak. I mean, these are brothers and sisters. Yeah. In fact, when they meet across the board, they call themselves brother. Not
only that, a good example was during when the South Korean president was in town last week. When they all together in that under that tent,
they are brothers and sisters. You know, I've never forgotten Raila's sister. You know, the deputy governor, saying that when they were young, you know, Raila used to, it was in the newspaper, used to carry her and Uhuru. I mean, they are friends. And that is good. It's a good thing. It is a good thing because then they are able to resolve problems. But I think the problem comes when there is so much hatred between you and me, so that every time Ken speaks, if I speak the truth, then everybody tells me you are talking. Is your true shade is coming out.
Yeah, your tribal colors.
Yeah, my tribal colors.
Yes.
I mean, I don't like, for instance, one thing I don't like, even from my, the area I come from, which is largely a Jubilee area. I mean, the whole concept of buying seats is something which we need to talk to.
Yeah.
How much, why should we allow people to be coming with millions of shillings and come and buy out seats? Why should we allow people to be mobilizing young people during elections, buying them bangi and alcohol so that they get seats? Why should we? By the way, incidentally, when we're talking about women being given seats, the reason we're talking about women being given seats is because we don't allow them space. The guys who have the resources basically take over the whole space. And incidentally, by the way, it is a conversation that's going on in America now. That's what Barney is talking about.
Yeah.
The establishment taking over the political space for everybody.
That's right.
I think we need to have conversations.
And by the way, when they do get into parliament after buying seats, they have to make that money back.
Of course. I mean, I've had people saying they've used 60 million. 60 million on what?
Yeah.
Why would you use 60 million?
Yeah.
And if you use 60 million, then it's an investment. All right?
That's
and
right.
if it's an investment, then you have to make 120 million.
Absolutely.
So that next time you keep your 60 and use another 60 on the people who are saying mkono mtupu haulambwi. Yes.
But let's come back to the Supreme Court and what Justice Njoki Ndongo did.
Yeah.
Overruling the appellate court about the age of the justices, which is supposed to be 70.
Yes.
A couple of them are over 70.
Yeah.
They don't want to go home.
Yes.
The Constitution says 70.
70, yes.
So, I mean, come on, Ken. At the end of the day, what is this? What are they hanging on to? You see them coming out of their vehicles. They can hardly walk, let alone rule. Or
Jeff, the IBC question, the Supreme Court question, what we are calling the corruption question, these are symptoms of a sick society. All right? These justices come from the society where you and me live, and the viewers of this program. So if then the quotient, the value quotient, or our culture is such that we have no sense of honor, then it doesn't matter who we bring there. It will take a person of incredible character, by the way, to be able to move this machine. We've been talking about cleaning the judiciary, leave alone the Supreme Court. Cleaning the judiciary. Is there corruption? Is corruption still going on? The answer is yes. Despite the mchujo that we basically did there. Right. But then again, how did we constitute the JSC? We went and picked lawyers who have interest in the courts. So if somebody is sitting in the JSC and as a lawyer and you come to the court of law, then you even intimidate the judge. Maybe we even need to look at how we constituted the JSC. When you look at, for instance, the question of the police, what is happening now? We are hearing stories of somebody saying that 2 million shillings went through his phone. He was given by his friends. And he's a traffic cop.
Correct.
I mean, we all know what happens.
And he had no guilt or anything.
This is
his explanation.
No, it is normal. It is normal. That is what we call now the normality. We normalize everything. We behave badly in politics. If somebody calls you out, you're a tribalist. In fact, I keep on saying, and I reserve my right, by the way, to talk about anybody, because in the Moi era, all these guys were in the space now, told Moi anything they wanted. But how come when I tell them anything I want, when I call them out, or when I say what I see, then I'm called a Kikuyu. I'm not meant to talk. No, don't talk. If you talk, you're a Kikuyu.
But others can.
Others can. You see, but I'm claiming the same space that everybody's claiming in terms of picketing and in terms of speaking my mind, especially against elected leaders. When people throw stones, whether it is Waititu, because he's a stone thrower,
yes, he is,
or whether it is those young guys who are throwing stones, it is Ushenzi.
Completely.
It is completely Ushenzi. And it must be condemned. It must be condemned.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So moving forward, Chief Justice goes. Maybe Alawal and Tunoi go.
Yes.
That means 3 out of 7.
I think there's chaos.
There's a crisis.
There's a crisis. I do not know the answer, but there is a crisis. And I think if there was a way of forming another select committee to look at this immediately, I think it should be looked at.
Ken, the election is barely a year away. You know that. A year goes by like this.
Yes.
Are we going to be ready for a general election?
For me, what I'm saying is, I think we need to give it our best shot. But even if we overshoot a bit, it is okay, as long as we will be able to have elections that are peaceful, and I underline fair, and must be seen to be fair. And we must make sure that come the next elections, we are not seeing people, polling 102%. In constituencies.
Right.
Yeah. Because it has been happening.
Absolutely.
It has been happening. We are. Everything is done transparently for everybody across the board. Let's not wish transparency for ourselves and then do other people in one way or another. All right. And for me, whether we'll be ready or not, I think is a critical question that we need to answer.
But critics and analysts are now looking at this and saying, you know what? It could get ugly. We don't want to go back to where we were.
By the way, the people who will determine whether we go back there or not is we the people. I think, and I've said this before, we give to the politicians too much of our responsibility as the citizens of this country. Who is throwing stones? Who is fighting? Who is killing each other? It's not the politicians.
No,
it is us.
Absolutely.
In fact, it is neither their children. Their children are in their houses. Some of them, I'm told, when there was chaos, some of them were in South Africa and wherever, waiting to be evacuated, so to speak. So, like the Waswahili say, Chamulevi huliwa na mgema. The conversation must change. It must change to what have you done for us? It must change to allow us to elect our leader. Don't tell us who to elect. It must change to the basics. Where is employment? For instance, we adopted a new constitution, and under the new constitution, there is this good thing we've been saying is the best thing that ever happened to us, called devolution.
Yes.
Have we even bothered to take the time to critically analyze? Or even if we analyze, do we hold even these governors to account so that we say, Jubilee governors, this is the score. Court governors, this is the score. All right? Every time there is a corrupt guy on either side of the divide, if he's ours, we keep quiet. If he's on the other side, we say he's corrupt. That is nonsense.
Yeah.
Utter nonsense.
And others are saying, "Uni mwizi wetu."
Uni mwizi wetu. People say uni mwizi wetu. So that the conversation, the consciousness of this nation must rise.
Yeah.
And the biggest part belongs to you and me, the citizenry. And by the way, leaders are like, businessmen. What the market demands is what they give them. I have a big problem with we, the citizens of this country. Why? Because the standards by which we judge our politicians are basically off the constitutional charts. We do not ask how many bills did you contribute to in parliament, how many times did you speak, did you talk for us in terms of this water problems. We only ask how many funerals did you come to and address, how many how many kids did you support for school fees, how many women, people's wives did you get out of maternity, how many, which is nonsense. I mean, I've talked to politicians, MPs who say, if I don't have 300,000-400,000 bob, I cannot go to my constituency.
He'll stay in Nairobi.
How do we run a democracy like that?
You can't.
You cannot.
And whatever happened to the idea of servant leadership, Ken? Is that a myth?
It is not a myth. But it's like I'm saying, it's a double-edged. There are two sides to this coin. There is we the people. We the people push the politicians to the extent that it is no longer about service. It's about buying your way.
Yeah.
We push them to a corner. Mheshimiwa, talk to any politician. In fact, invite a politician here and tell him to open his SMS. Somebody is saying, I came from Kapenguria, I came from Kirinyaga, I need bus fare to go back home. He has no business giving you bus fare. We cannot treat them like that and then expect something else outside what we are getting. And so, like I'm saying, the whole system is actually upside down. It's confused. Right from the IPC to the way we do nominations, to how we treat MPs, to the scales on which we judge them on. And that is why I remember going to the Bundesrat, Germany, in just before the crisis election. In that 5-year electoral year, the Bundesrat had done 360 bills, and basically had become acts of parliament. In the same period, the Kenyan parliament had done 45.
Same period.
And they are paid more than the Germans.
Much more.
But then we don't judge our politicians by what they do in parliament. And that is why maybe the IBC is hanging the transformation, because who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
I will be judged by how many funerals I go to, how many churches I build.
And I will hang in here as long as I want to.
Yes.
As long as I can.
And when I steal money from the public coffers and I go back, I'm told there's one politician who went and told his people, guys were saying in the national media he was being called a crook. And then he went and asked his people, what is wrong for me to go to Nairobi and steal and bring it to you? They said nothing. And they clapped for him.
Yeah.
And they elected him again. So what nonsense are we talking?
And then we keep increasing our budget over and over again. Today, the budget is off the charts.
No, the budget doesn't worry me.
Huh?
In fact, I think we have a big job. Why do I say that? In the next 16, 17 years,
so Vision 2030.
we are basically in 2030, right? What does that mean? That means we are saying we'll be a middle-level, a middle-income economy, which means we'll basically be having about 300 to 350 US dollars. Billion, US dollars. Now, if you look at what we are calling our 2.3 trillion shilling budget, it's about 23 billion USD. So we have to grow this economy 15 times over. And we cannot grow this economy 15 times over if we don't understand it's the economy.
If we're throwing stones every Monday.
You remember the time Bill Clinton was was running for the presidency? He coined a word which basically made him sail through. He said, it's the economy, stupid.
Correct.
Everything is the economy.
Stupid.
What are we producing? What is our level of productivity? Our entrepreneurs, how many people are they electing? Are they employing? All right. In innovation, creativity. In fact, I don't think it exists. We should be asking ourselves, instead of just saying send money to the counties, we should also be saying how much money are we putting aside for research and innovation? Because without research and innovation, we do not exist.
That's right.
We're a banana tin pot republic. just consuming things left, right and center from China.
Not manufacturing.
Look at ourselves. We cannot build. That railway was built in 1900.
Yeah.
But we do not have Onyangos and Kamaus and Wanyamas and the rest and Abdis who can build that railway. It must be built by the Chinese. Our roads must be built by the Chinese. What is the hell is wrong with us? Why do we need to have engineers? In fact, I keep on saying, the way we are going, maybe we should just sell off all the parastatals and buy shares in Apple and just sit and wait for dividends.
And let the Chinese work for us.
Distribute and let the Chinese work for us. But I'm saying, I am clear in my mind that we do not have a defective gene as the Africans.
So what's wrong with our gene?
Our thinking, our mindsets, our an appreciation, if I may use that word. We do not appreciate what it means to be human. And so we want to fly those aircrafts, but we do not want to go to the depths of thinking, of feeling, of creating, so that we can fly them. We want to continue growing coffee, and like I keep on saying, you do not even grow coffee, it grows itself. We cannot even take care of that coffee. You know, the interesting thing is, if you look at a company like Starbucks, it is making $1 billion every year. Right?
Yeah.
What is it selling? It is selling coffee.
From Kenya mostly?
From Kenya mostly. What are they doing? They are boiling our coffee and basically serving it to somebody who pays some 3, 4, 5 pounds or dollars for that same cup
of
coffee.
It's like three times more than you pay at Java, by the way.
The question is, my friend, why can't you and I go and start a multinational that sells coffee? Why can't Savannah go outside there and sell Kenya tea? Why can't we be making $1 billion so that we start saying, okay, like Njiru, which is here selling us equipment, we are there selling our coffee. Our interaction with our coffee ends at the coffee board of Kenya when the hammer goes down.
And they dictate the prices.
And they dictate,
not us.
Yeah, those guys dictate the prices.
Correct.
And by the way, what is very interesting is a couple of years ago, I think it was almost 20 years ago, we used to sell our teas, KTDA teas, in the London tea auction. The day KTDA decided to pull out our teas from the London auction and start selling them in Mombasa, the London auction closed. That's how good our teas are. They were holding up the London auction. But no, in fact, you go and find packages written English tea, and the English grow no tea.
I've never seen tea there.
You see, but then, Jeff, when will we have time to go in this way if all we think about is who will be the next president? You have eaten 4 times, you have done what? And by the way, the common man down here who's been used to throw stones and cut up each other and do stupid things continues to suffer, while these guys up here live like kings.
And this is the same guy who's going to turn on those same people.
Of course.
He's going to turn on them.
No, he's going to turn on them.
He's going to go into their neighborhoods.
And I repeat the statement, Chamulevi, kuliwa na Mugema. If you do not understand yourself, if we do not come to the terms that each and every one of us is a moral agent, and we have the capability and the ability to be able to move this country forward, we are lying to ourselves. The MPs are simply our agents. The leaders, they are agents, they are our servants. It's like employing a house help and then they take over your house. They decide what you eat, where you sleep. In fact, they move into your main bedroom. They take your suits and wear.
It's happened.
And then you start blaming them. You are the Mushenzi.
Speaking of Mshenzi, it's interesting when you said that line by Bill Clinton back in the 90s when he said, it's the economy, stupid.
Yes.
He knew about Ushenzi then.
Of course.
It's the economy.
It has to be the economy. Because what are we fighting over? We are fighting over who eats what, where, and when.
Peanuts.
And right now what we have is a queen cake, 2.3 trillion shillings.
It's a queen cake.
It's a queen cake. In the scheme of things, by the way, that's the petty cash money for possibly Walmart. I'm telling you.
Correct.
No, it's true. It's petty cash. And you're basically talking about 1.2 million people. Their petty cash is our whole budget. 30 million Kenyans.
42
million Kenyans now. Why? Because we don't want to work well. The amount of time we think waste thinking about Baba
plotting.
and Mama and Kaka and I don't know what. It's a total waste of time.
It's a shenzi.
Instead of rising up and asking yourself, what did God make me out to be? What's
my role?
So that, like I always say, the international standard we've hit with our athletes is hit everywhere across.
Look at our rugby team.
Yeah, look at the rugby
beating Fiji.
Fantastic.
The best team on the planet.
Oh yes.
We beat them hands down, and it wasn't a fluke.
And it wasn't a fluke. And by the way, when we beat them, Nobody starts doing a tribal arithmetic.
No.
Look at, we don't have Masai.
Kama
We don't have, no, nonsense.
It was our team.
Those boys are great boys.
Shuja.
And that is what we need to replicate across the board.
Okay, let's take a break, come back, talk about the way forward, and also my old school, Hospital Hill Primary School.
Yeah, you're an alumni.
I am an alumni.
Yes.
Lovely school. We started off there back in the 60s and 70s.
70s, yes.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
And now they're exhibiting Ushenziness as well now.
No.
Ushenziness. Let's keep talking. At Njiru Ken at Uungwana, Kenya.
Yeah.
Mine is at Koinange Jeff. The hashtag Uungwana. Keep tweeting. I'll read more of your tweets and texts when we come back. I tell you, this is a great conversation. Where's my fire extinguisher? I'm like Menda Namawe. It's okay. Jeff Koinange live at the Villa Rosa Kempinski takes a break. We'll be back in a moment.